name is Cafe Retta. I've had the honor of working with Anne on this book through the last year or so, and really happy to be here to host this celebration today. I'll be hosting it along with Kimberly Cruz, who will help the technology run smoothly and keep us on track and help us have a good time here. And so it's really good to see you all because writing a book is not an easy feat. It takes a lot out of the author. It takes a lot of time, but it's also quite an emotional roller coaster ride as you try to gather thoughts to put it down on paper for others to read. And I think especially when you're writing about something as personal as what Anne has written, Gray Divorce, My Life Rewritten. So we're here to celebrate her today and glad you're able to join in to do that. And we look forward to hearing a bit more from her. What we'll do is an interview, and that'll be followed by her reading a portion of the book. Then we'll open it to you for questions and comments that you might want to share with her. Okay, so if we're all ready, thanks, Lydia or Anne, for being here. To get things started and rolling here, let me ask you the first question,
Sure,
and we'll jump right into really personal things.
that's fine.
When did you realize that your marriage was in trouble?
So, I've been asked before if there was like a single event or a defining moment that made me go, wow. And I think it's better described as a slow burn over time. There was some awareness of some things. A lot of it was realized kind of towards the end and really in looking back in hindsight. And I'll give an example of that. So one of the things was my ex-husband and I moved to the West Coast after he retired from his career. And this was a chance for us to start a whole new chapter of our lives. We were excited about it. We had planned for it. We had dreamed about it. It had been talked about for a long time. And I noticed after we moved that he was just completely disengaged, just checked out. And regardless of what I tried, it didn't seem to change. And so that was really the beginning of some of that awareness for me. But honestly, the relationship had suffered for quite a number of years before that. I had just been kind of in denial. So in my book, Gray Divorce, My Life Rewritten, I mention blurting out to a friend this statement after we moved back to Texas. And what I said was, I haven't loved him in a long time. And I remember, it still makes me emotional thinking about it. I remember physically sitting back in my chair, stunned that those words had been spoken. And even for a split second, wondering who said that? Where did it come from? Because it was such a revelation, even to me. I was so disconnected from the reality of what had been happening in my marriage. But I will say that moment at least became the moment where I was aware there's something wrong here and I need to do something. I just didn't know what it was at that point, that what I needed to do.
That was a very brave awakening, very sobering, I'm sure.
Brutal.
Well, then moving into writing the book, then what inspired you to write all this into a book?
So I had been journaling as I worked through a lot of things. I've been writing for years, and I found a course online through the Daily Ohm, fabulous resource, and that really became a lifeline for me as I was trying to figure out what to do. I was lost, I was confused, I was upset, torn. And so I started journaling as I was going through that course. I kept journaling as I was going through the separation and the divorce and going through therapy that I went through just to try to figure out how had my life devolved into what had it become. And I had also done a lot of research during this time because making a decision to divorce at this stage of the game is a completely different decision than, 20 or 30 years ago. And so that was actually when I ran across the term gray divorce and started to learn a little bit more about it. So it struck me that there were a lot of people, men and women alike. Of course, my perspective is from a woman's perspective, but there were a lot of people that were in my shoes. They were stuck. They didn't know what to do, or even if they should do anything, if they could do anything. And so it was actually as I was preparing for a session with my therapist and making some notes about some things that I wanted to talk about, that I stopped and I thought, what if I wrote about this? What if I shared my story with other people? Because some of the things that I was reading were becoming lifelines for me. And what if I could give that to somebody else? So I had all the journal notes and the insights and all of that. And so it just kind of grew from there.
Wow. It's fortunate for us and for your readers that you kept those journals and made those notes as you went along, because that's turned into something that I know will be a great help to others following along
Thank you.
in their lives if they find themselves in this situation. And gray divorce, first time I've ever heard that term was
Yeah.
in meeting you, and you told me you're writing about it. Um, but I'm hearing it more and more these days. It's come on my radar, and it sounds like something happening a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was really interested when I ran across the term at first, and it dates back to, I think it was coined as a result of some research that was being done by two sociology professors at Bowling Green State University. And it started back in 2010 when Al and Tipper Gore announced that they were going to get divorced after 40 years of marriage. And so that kind of piqued these researchers' interest, these professors' interest, and they started looking at, what would cause a marriage that long to fall apart? What is it that would cause, that to happen? And what they realized as they started doing this research is that even though marriage in the US, the divorce rate had peaked in 1979 and was starting to come down, it was a completely different story for baby boomers. And they started realizing that from 1990 and 2010, the divorce rate for people 50 and over had doubled. And by 2019, 36% of the divorces that happened were for people over 50. And even more startling was that for people 65 and older, that divorce rate tripled from 1990 to 2021. So, it's interesting because I've had a lot of conversations with people saying, well, this is just indicative of our society not taking marriage seriously and not taking the commitment seriously. And I strongly disagree with that. I can only speak from my experience. It was a very difficult decision to make, but I think that really what we're seeing is the women of my parents' generation and previous generations, they really didn't have any choice. They stayed at home. They were homemakers. They were mothers. They didn't have any way of supporting themselves. And so, many of them turned a blind eye even to just dysfunctional relationships. And for many of them, it was much more than that. It was, verbal abuse, physical abuse, infidelity, that kind of thing, because they didn't feel like they had any choices. Whereas today, people have more choices, and it doesn't make it an easy choice. There's significant impacts at this stage of the game. And so it's not something to be taken lightly, especially like the financial side of things. That's one aspect. But I think at least for me, when I was faced with the concept of, I've got a finite amount of time left here and I'm very miserable, I made the decision to change the trajectory of my life and move on.
And as you said, it was hard to make those decisions. What were
Yeah.
your biggest fears about getting divorced at that stage of life?
Well, as I mentioned, the one big one was the financial side of things. And I didn't have any fear about being able to support myself. That wasn't the fear. It was just, my house was almost paid for. And so all of that had to be split. I had a ridiculously low interest rate, and now I was facing starting a mortgage all over again. And So it was that side of things that I was more concerned about. So there was the financial side. The other big thing for me that was just as big was I didn't want to make the same mistakes again with choosing the wrong partner. And so I had gotten to a point where I was very happy being by myself. I had a lot of freedom. I didn't have to worry about making decisions for anybody but me. You know, if I didn't want to cook, I didn't cook, that kind of thing. So I was very content. I was very happy for the first time in a very long time. But I knew that when it got time for me to retire, I wanted to travel and I wanted somebody to have those experiences with. And yes, I'm perfectly capable of traveling by myself. A lot of people do it, but I wanted to have those shared experiences. And so that meant that I really needed to do the work and uncover what the root causes were behind the choices that I had made. And that was my other big fear. I didn't want to make the same mistake again.
Well, you did some pretty deep and powerful work, and that's in this book. And you've organized it by life lessons that you
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
throughout these tough times.
yeah,
There's a lot of lessons in there, but if you had
sure,
to pick maybe the two most critical lessons you could share with us right now, that are really
sure.
important, what would those be?
Sure. So, like you say, Kathy, there were a lot. There were a lot of lessons, and they were all very intertwined. But I think at the core of it, there were two that were really pivotal for me. And the first one was that boundaries exist to in healthy relationships to allow us to not lose ourselves as we love the other person, to allow us not to sacrifice our needs and our wants. And so that was a huge lesson for me. The other lesson for me was I am whole by myself. I don't need somebody else to complete me. I am a whole person and I have value. And I don't have to rely on someone else to see my value in order for me to have value. I have value as an individual, as a human being. So those are really the two big lessons for me at the core of it.
Those are two very powerful lessons. And, and I just have to say that I was reading through the book. You can see the struggle and the decisions that you're making, and that it's not easy. And I can tell you, by the time we got to the end and saw where you were going and the uplifting outcome, it just was really touching and inspiring. So
Thank
while the
you.
book's a difficult topic, maybe, it's
Yeah,
also very inspiring and empowering. So I commend
thank
you
you.
for that.
Thank you.
And I'd like to invite you to read a portion, some excerpt of the book with us.
Sure, sure. So the part that I'd like to share is lesson 12. And lesson 12 was failing to do the deep inner work necessary for healing puts me at risk of repeating the same mistakes, which is what I was talking about. So I work to untangle the knots around falling in love with potential and trying to fix someone. I kept returning to some of the common threads found in the books I had read. A journal entry from February of 2023 said this: although I know I will look for love again, I'm positive I have a tremendous amount of work to do on myself for the foreseeable future. I need to do that work to help ensure that I can attract the right kind of person, someone who is an equal partner. The huge negative truth is that I have to learn to love myself first before I can be in a healthy relationship with any man. Learning to love myself was inextricably linked to forgiving myself for the relationship mistakes that I had made and for choosing emotionally unavailable men. I kept thinking of Dr. S's analogy of unsewing my shadow self from childhood and leaving it behind. It had served me while growing up, but had lost its purpose. It had also become damaging to my adult life and negatively impacted me by drawing me to men who were not good for me. My journal entry 2 months after separating and right after Thanksgiving reflected my struggles. This evening, my restlessness is feverish. I sit outside on the patio as the sun goes down and the solar lights begin to turn on, watching the thin sliver of the moon almost directly in front of me, and I try to listen intently to my heart. Just 2 weeks ago, I turned 60, a monumental birthday under normal everyday circumstances. But here I am getting ready to go through divorce number 2 after skating by the 29th anniversary that we didn't celebrate only 2 months ago. And yet life moves forward, whether we're riding high or sitting on a porch somewhere, wondering how in the hell we got to this point at this particular time in our lives. Because surely I can't be the only one wondering that. I know I'm not. As I ponder my restlessness, I think about how half of my adult life, 30 years, has been spent in this relationship and how that door has closed. I was the one who closed it, but that doesn't mean that I'm exempt from feeling at loose ends, from wondering if maybe I could have prevented this if I'd paid more attention as I slowly gave more and more until I felt myself disappearing. But hindsight doesn't always provide answers, and even if it did in this situation, I wouldn't go back to the way things were. So what's the point in even contemplating that question? Except I don't want to make the same mistake again.
Very powerful, powerful words. Thank you for sharing it
Sure.
and for sharing all of this portion of your life here. If those of you watching, if you haven't found it yet, the book is on Amazon, and I really encourage you to do that. If you already have a copy, go and pick up another copy for a friend. You may well, given the statistics I just heard about gray divorce, there's probably a lot of people out there and people you know who may be contemplating these same types of questions, and this book would help them gain some clarity to make their own decisions. So please do that. And also, while we're talking about going to Amazon, if you would please leave a review after you read the book, if you'll go in and leave a review, that will help a lot. Amazon has this magical mystery algorithms that helps bring books up to the top, and the more not only sales but reviews that a book has, the more Amazon's likely to put it at the top of the page. So when someone goes to look, if they're contemplating these questions and they're looking for a book, then they're more likely to find that one. So I just really encourage you as a favor to your favorite author here to leave a review of the book on Amazon. And so with that, I'm going to turn you over to Kim, who will talk with you about how to ask questions and comments and join in the discussion here.
So we're looking for questions or comments or congratulatory messages, whatever you have. Please volunteer to be unmuted and you can talk to Anne. John, I'm going to start with you.
Well, hello, Anne. I just got to started reading your book. I'm only on lesson 7, but I want to congratulate you on your insights. And I just really admire how you have been able to, I think with the help of journaling, sure, but you really capture the emotions and what you went through. And I really respect that. That's very, very helpful, I think, to have those kind of insights to look at. My question for you is, if you met someone who is maybe early in marriage and starting to realize some of these things, what advice would you give them to maybe help them not go through what you had to go through?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you for your comments, your kind words. Interestingly enough, I had this conversation not too long ago with a young man, and he made the comment about knowing what his values were. And I thought, wow, to be so young and to have that down. And I think that's the biggest thing. What are your values? What are the things that matter most to you? And find someone who has that. Find someone who has that in common with you. It makes life so much easier. So I think having those values, and also being really good with boundaries and understanding the purpose of boundaries. I didn't grow up with boundaries. They were non-existent, and that was a very difficult thing for me to learn. So I think those 2 things would probably be my best advice to a young person.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the question.
Brandy, I'm inviting you to unmute.
So I ordered my book and I will have it on Thursday. So I'm very excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I was just wondering, I don't know if it's fitting for this discussion, but I thought I'll ask and you'll just do what you do with it.
Sure.
Because I have found that after all that you've learned and, we've had a lot of conversations, and it turned out it's all in this remarkable book. I know it's wonderful. And I didn't know if maybe as a point of encouragement to others, because it was very bold, these are not easy decisions to make, as you know,
No.
and it's a lot of courage and all that stuff. But you did it, and I didn't know if you wanted to speak at all of where you're at now with regard to relationship,
Oh, sure.
because I know about that, and I think it's just outstanding. So I just thought it would be
Sure.
maybe encouragement
So
for somebody.
some of the people on the call, I mean, I've got people from all different aspects of my life on the call. Randy, you and I have been through some interesting conversations for sure in the last couple
Yeah.
of years, but you know that like I said, I was most concerned about making the mistake again that I had made. So all of the work that I did helped me to, just like I said to John, get familiar with my values, get very clear on what it was that I was looking for. And I just got remarried in October, so less than a month ago. He's on the call. Ken is just a wonderful man. And I've never been in such an easy relationship in my life. It's just, I find myself every day thinking, what was I doing for so many years? Because it's so easy. So yeah, it's good. It's very good. And I'm very fortunate. And we get along very well. We think alike. We have the same things in common, and it really makes it very easy.
All right, next up, we've got Patty. I'm inviting you to unmute.
Hey, Patty.
Oh my God, I want to cry. I'm a crier. For anybody that doesn't know me on this call, I work with Lydia.
Yes.
Lydia is an amazing person.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you for doing this. It's such a big thing for you to put out about yourself to the world. And I can resonate with some of the stuff that you've mentioned. I am divorced, but I just want to congratulate you on this. And I am very happy that you are remarried. Ken is a lucky guy.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I will definitely be purchasing the book and just read about it and, see how this can help me move forward just emotionally, because it is hard to trust other people with your heart.
Oh, yeah.
As mentioned,
I talk about that.
Yes. And I feel, yes, sometimes it is just best to be alone.
Yeah.
And I found the better version of myself when I am alone. But you're amazing, and thank you.
Thank you. Well, when you get it and you read it and you want to talk, you know where I work.
Yes. Thank you, Lydia.
All right. Thanks for joining.
Dan, I'm inviting you to unmute.
Thank you very much. Well, I haven't known, well, I've never known Anne as Anne, so it's nice to meet you.
No, me as Lydia. And that's okay. I'm still Lydia.
And I haven't known Lydia very long, but thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. I've got Amazon pulled up, and I will order the book as soon as we're done here.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm on a very similar journey as yours. I have been separated from my wife of 38 years for 8 months.
Yeah.
And I will say this 8-month period has been what I call the wrestle.
Yeah.
Just really trying to just make sure that I'm doing the right thing after 38 years, right? A lifetime, 3 children, 5 grandchildren.
Yeah.
And making just a huge shift.
Yeah.
Which is something I need, but something that she absolutely did not want.
Sure.
And struggles with still today.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if your ex-husband, was he feeling the same things that you felt, or was he more comfortable maintaining the marriage? Would he have been more comfortable maintaining the marriage?
Well, he would have been more comfortable maintaining the marriage because I did everything.
Okay. All right.
So, but as far as the feeling was concerned, I know that he and I both felt I talk about in my book that it felt like the Great Wall of China went down the middle of the bed. We were roommates and had been roommates for many years, and there was no emotional connection anymore. So it's a good question. He never shared any of that with me. When I finally worked up the courage to ask for the divorce, it was okay. And there was never any, can we work this out? Can we work on it? There was none of that. But that was also his personality. His personality he wouldn't have gone there. So I think also emotionally, it comes from a different place for a woman than it does for a man. I struggled with it, even though it was my decision. So yeah, I mean, I know I get I guess the wrestling part. I felt that for the longest time, but I would encourage you to talk about it with people who can really help you. That was such a turning point for me, and it helped me really put me on the path of healing and figuring out what I needed to do. I couldn't have done this on my own. I've had so many people placed in my path along this way that have really made a difference for me. So I think you're definitely at that point. I would strongly encourage you to do that and to take advantage of some people who can help guide you. Because a lot of times what they do is they just ask you questions and get you to look at things from a different perspective. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks for joining too.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Next up, we have Stephanie. I'm inviting you to unmute.
Hey, Stephanie.
I don't know to call you Anne or Lydia.
It doesn't matter. The name is Lydia Ann, so it doesn't matter.
I love it. I love it. No, I had to jump on and just share just how incredibly moving your entire story is. And I love the support that is here for you today, because I have had the pleasure of knowing you for a few years. And seeing you in this process. And, it's crazy to look back. And I remember some of our conversations and how you were sharing, the struggles and losing yourself, and to see you transform from that place to where you are today. It's like night and day. And so it's just an incredibly inspiring, uplifting, even though it was really hard and really challenging and really scary probably at times, and all the feelings. I just love that you shared it with the world. That's a very vulnerable but that's very you, I think, is vulnerable and wanting to help others through similar situations through yourself. So just huge congratulations to you. I'm getting very emotional. But it's just a wonderful testament to the person that you are. So thank you so much for sharing it with the world. I ordered my copy. I will write some more. I'll have a review for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
But I think just to have fun and ask a question, would love to know, when you decided to share your story and write the book, what was the most maybe challenging part of putting that out there to the world?
Oh, there were a lot of them. The first thing that comes to mind actually is that I'd only ever written fiction before. And so I was like, it's a piece of cake, I can do this. And I realized after about 5 or 6 pages that writing memoir was a whole different beast. And so being who I am, I had to go learn how to do that, because, you have to learn, always be learning. So that was the first thing. But I think the second thing was really carving it down. So memoir is not an autobiography. It's not the whole thing. And so how do you figure out what your bumper pads are on the lane on either side? How do you make sure that you stay within those guidelines in your writing? And what's the message? What's what is the message that you're trying to convey, and narrowing that down and getting very clear. Those were challenging, but hopefully I pulled it off. So I'll be interested to see what you think when you read it.
I have no doubt. And I also just wanted to add, I mean, your goal of becoming a published writer, right?
Yeah.
And you put in the work, and you did the work on yourself and to get yourself there. So just big congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So when you guys get the book and read the book, Stephanie is one of the people that's in my acknowledgments. Stephanie was pivotal for me at a very, very difficult point in my life to getting me back to writing. And a huge reason that I'm here today is right there on your screen right now. So thank you for that, Stephanie.
My pleasure.
Oh, I see Karen. I'm inviting you to unmute.
Hi, Karen.
I think I have to say something here. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you.
Your resilience, your tenacity, your vulnerability. And I just am honored to have walked this road with you for so long. Learned a lot from you. And yeah, you've just been a very, very important person in my life. And this book is a very important book. And I hope everyone will just buy a copy for a friend. There's so many men and women that are out there just trying to get by and living just a life that is not full, is not what they deserve. Maybe this will at least touch somebody to make the change like you've made. So that's what I hope for you. That's what I hope for the book. And thank you. Thanks for just letting me be a part of it as well.
Thank you so much for coming, and your friendship means the world to me. She's also in my acknowledgments, by the way. So just saying.
Maura, inviting you to unmute.
Thank you. Congratulations, Anne.
Thank you.
I'm planning to buy the book, and we'll write a review. And I am just looking for advice for aspiring authors. I think I've mentioned to you, I've done some work, some children's books that I've put together and in a self-published kind of way. And that project, I just keep not coming back to it. And I need to conclude the third in a trilogy. And also I've identified an editor who does this for a living, and she's helping me with that. But what is most helpful in getting off of one's butt, getting the work done?
So, the biggest thing is just, the butt has to be in the chair, whether you're feeling it or not. And that's the hardest thing for us to do. And I think just having that routine for me with working full time, for years, raising my son and family and all of that stuff, it always took a second, back seat until I started getting up at 4:30 in the morning and carving that time out for myself. So that routine, that is huge. And applying yourself to this like it is the most important thing that you can do, because your message is unique to the world and it needs to be out there. And so recognizing that, I think, helps when we're staring at the screen and the cursor blinking or the blank page. It helps us realize, our message needs to be out there. So what do I do to get it out there? So, but the consistency is huge. And having people in your group that support you, that know about your desire to do this, because they're going to encourage you, and they're also going to challenge you and say, are you doing it? Are you writing? What can I do to help? And that's hugely helpful too.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
I liked your statement of, hey, your work needs to be out there. That's helpful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to go to Glenda, and then we will go to Amanda. Glenda, I'm inviting you to unmute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Glenda, and Lydia and I work together.
Hey, Glenda.
I just want to take a moment and say congratulations on this milestone. I'm excited for you and thank you for sharing this side of you, with us. I think it's really neat that you're doing this, and I'm excited to order a copy and dive into the book. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Glenda. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you being here.
Next up, we have Amanda. Amanda, I'm inviting you to unmute.
Hi, Anne. I'm so excited for you. I just wanted to come off mute. I'm driving home from work.
Yeah, be careful.
Don't worry. Yes, my eyes are on the road. But I just wanted to say congratulations. I can't wait to catch up with you soon. I can't wait to read the book. And I know this has been such a journey for you. So thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and experience and wisdom with the world.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it very, very much. I got asked for what I really wanted, what image kind of resonated with me or would kind of demonstrate the feel of the book. And there was just something about, I started looking at vintage postcards and kind of came across a similar concept to that. And I thought it was just kind of appropriate since it's really a generational thing that we're talking about with this phenomenon. So I don't know, I just loved it. And I thought that the image was great in that it shows the commitment of leaving and the kind of the scary part of being out on your own, and also the resolution of I can survive this and I can do this and I can make it work. So that's what I loved about it.
So yeah, please continue putting your comments in chat, and then she'll be able to keep that with her forever when she's writing her next book and
That's
starts
right.
getting discouraged and
That's right.
feeling that resistance, which
Yes.
one of you asked about writing a book. There's a great book called The War of Art.
Yeah.
In which Stephen Pressfield, the author, tells you anytime you're engaging in something artistic like writing a book, you're going to have resistance.
Yeah.
And so you work through it and support teams like what you've been to, Lydia, and are now, in the comments that you're writing in chat will be very helpful to remind you why this is good and why you're doing it. And you want to keep sharing your gift with the world. And so please go ahead and write those comments in. And again, I just want to say it's been a treasure to work with you, Lydia, through this process, and just to see how you brought it together, and again, the hope that you give, because it's you lay it out with meaningfully, with a path for people, questions for people to explore. And I like what I read in one of your reviews, which is already on Amazon. Someone said, it's not another one of these books where people just complain and the horrifics of their life. No, it's one of hope and it gives some direction. So kudos to you and congratulations. And I just feel so proud of you.
Thank you.
And like to give you the opportunity to close this out with anything you'd like to share with the group.
Sure, just real briefly, I just, I think, Dan's comment, it was very therapeutic writing this. Just writing it in itself was a journey for me. It allowed me to look back on what I had been through, the lessons that I had learned, really get very clear on those lessons, because clarity is very good. And, recognize the significant changes that I had made along the way. So my biggest hope for this book is that it does help people. I read so much as I was on this journey for myself, and there were several books that really stood out for me. And I hope that maybe this one might be that for other people. And then, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming today. Everybody's so busy. They have so much going on. I have such an amazing cross section of support here. People that I've known for many, many years, people that I've only worked with for a few years, but we're still here. personal and professional life. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Your support means a lot to me. If you've already ordered a copy, thank you. If you're ordering a copy, thank you. If you're willing to leave a review, thank you. All of those things make a big difference. Just like Cathay said, it really makes a big difference. Those reviews help them decide, whether they want to buy a book or not. So, and then, lastly, just talk about the book. You never know who's going through something very similar, and share it with people. And I'm happy to answer any questions. If you, get off of this and decide that you've got another question that you want to ask, ping me, where to get hold of me. So I appreciate it. And thank you again for your support. It really does mean everything.